Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today I'm going to make a reverse dyed long sleeve t-shirt. The shirt I'm using today is a George brand men's long sleeve t-shirt. It's 100% cotton and I purchased it from Walmart. It's kind of a dark burgundy color. I've washed it, but I haven't soaked it in anything, so it's damp from just plain water. I'm going to stripe the shirt with sinew lines. I'm not really making a geode shirt per se, but I am going to tie it kind of like I would tie a single geode, just without a center. So I've grabbed one corner of the shirt and lifted it up off the table, and then I kind of gave it a little bit of a shake so that it fell naturally, and I'm going to start tying the sinew lines from the corner. I'm also going to vary the distance between the sinew lines. I don't want it to look too perfect. I'm using sinew to tie this shirt with because I'm going to do a reverse dye process, or I'm going to remove part of the color from the shirt. So that means I'm going to submerge my shirt down inside of some color remover. And if I just tied my shirt with something like kite string or rubber bands, that color remover would get underneath those and would remove pretty much all the color from my shirt. So I want to have some of these dark burgundy lines left remaining in my shirt. That's why I'm using sinew. Sinew is wax coated, and so every place where I tie a sinew line and I tighten it down until the sinew locks down on itself, underneath those lines, that area is going to remain burgundy. You can see I have one sleeve hanging down there by itself. I'm going to fold that up into the rest of the shirt and tie it up with the rest of the shirt. Once I have the shirt tied, I'm going to place it aside for about 24 hours and let it dry out just a little bit. I want to make sure my color remover gets into the center of this fold so that I have most of the color removed in the middle. For the color removal process, I'm going to use a product called Out White Bright Laundry Whitener. I purchased mine from Walmart on the laundry aisle, and it's normally up by the bleach products. However, it's not a bleach product, so it won't damage my fabric the way bleach will, and it doesn't have to be neutralized. If you can't find any at your Walmart or one of your department stores, I have a link down below in the description for this video where you can purchase some from Amazon. I'm going to remove the color from quite a few items all at the same time. I think I have about 6 items in this tub or tote. So I've placed all of my items down inside of a plastic tub or tote, and I've taken the tote outside. Out White Bright does have a smell, so I like to use this product outside, and I also like to wear my respirator throughout the entire process. I don't want to inhale any of the fumes, and I don't want to inhale any of the Out White Bright powder. Where I live, it's always windy, and as you can see when I'm sprinkling the Out White Bright over the top of the items, some of that dust is kind of going airborne. Once I have my items covered in Out White Bright, I'm going to pour a pot of boiling hot water over the top. And as you can see, as soon as that hot water hits the Out White Bright, it starts to bubble and the color starts to be removed immediately. I don't have quite enough water though to totally cover these items, so whenever I do a reverse dye process, I normally boil 2 pots of hot water and use both of them. I would like to have my items completely covered or almost covered in the Out White Bright solution. So I'm going to add the second pot of boiling hot water to the top and a little bit more Out White Bright. Then I'm going to use a pair of metal tongs, which I purchased from the Dollar Tree dollar store, and I'm going to move my items around in that Out White Bright solution to try to make sure every part of them gets soaked in the Out White Bright. I have quite a few things in this container, and I'm going to rotate some of the items on the bottom so that everything gets fully submerged. I'm going to go ahead and speed the video up. But after I added the second pot of boiling hot water to the top, I went ahead and left these items in the Outright Bright solution for about 15 minutes. Then I took them to my utility sink and I rinsed them in cold water. I left the items tied through this entire process. I am not going to untie them until the very end after they're dyed. After rinsing them in cold water, I went ahead and put them all in my washing machine along with some Dharma's Professional Textile Detergent. I think I washed mine in either a warm or a hot water cycle, but you can use either warm, hot, cold. This part doesn't really matter. I'm just washing them to get out some of the residue from the Outright Bright and some of the smell. I know I've heard a few tie-dyers say that their items still smell with the Outright Bright smell after they're dyed, but I don't normally have that problem, and I think it may be because I'm washing out a lot of that residue in between the Outright Bright process and actually dyeing my items. Then after I take my items out of my washing machine, I'm going to place them inside of a soda ash solution and allow them to soak. I'm going to wring them out of my Panda spin dryer like normal, and then this shirt in particular, because it is a little thicker, I'm going to place it aside and allow it to dry out completely before I apply the dye. I get better color saturation in the center of thicker folds if I go ahead and apply the dye when the shirt is completely dry. If you'd like a little bit more information about this topic, I have a blog post out on my website which discusses this topic in a little bit more detail. I have a link to my website down below this video in the description. So for this shirt, I thought I would use some greens and some grays. Sometimes it's a little difficult to pair green with red, just simply because you can end up with quite a bit of brown formed on your shirt. But with a reverse dye like this, you can pair red and green and it's not going to form the brown. So I'm going to try that on this shirt. It's getting close to Christmas time and I thought it might look a little festive. I've placed the shirt down inside of a colander and I have the colander over a plastic tub or tote. I'm going to begin by applying the dye to each one of the sections of my shirt. But before I do that, so that the dye sticks a little bit better to this dry shirt, I'm going to lightly spray it with a little bit of soda ash solution that I've placed inside of a spray bottle. Because I have the shirt down inside of a colander, I'm choosing not to use an ice barrier. I'm just going to put the ice down inside of this colander. I'm going to randomly apply the greens and the grays to the shirt. So let me give you the colors that I'm using on this shirt. I'm using New Emerald Green, Better Blue Green, and Hunter Green from Dharma Trading Company, Woodland from Dye Spin, Leaf Green from Pro Chemical and Dye, Dark Green from Dharma, Forest Green from Custom Colors, and Forest Green from Dharma. I'm also using Crappy Scrappy from Grateful Dyes, Cotton Black from Pro Chemical and Dye, Timber Wolf, Gunmetal Gray, and Charcoal Gray from Dharma. If you missed any of those, I have them all listed down below, along with links to the websites for those dye companies in the description for this video. If you don't have all of those greens, then feel free to substitute other greens. I just go ahead and pull quite a few colors for a shirt like this because I have them available. You don't have to use this many. And if you'll notice, I have several colors that are named the same thing, like Forest Green from Custom Colors and Forest Green from Dharma. Even though they have the same name, they're not exactly the same color. There are differences in those two colors. I also forgot to mention that I believe Hunter Green from Dharma is a special order color. You can probably still get it from Dharma, but you'll have to buy a large quantity. If you don't want to do that, I have a link down below in the description for this video to a Facebook page called Tie-Dye Supplies Marketplace. People purchase the large quantities of the dyes and then they repackage them into smaller quantities. You can usually find this color there. Once I have the dye on the shirt, I'm going to go ahead and apply a little bit of dry soda ash over the top and then layer on the ice. After the first layer of ice melted, I noticed I still had quite a bit of undissolved dye left on top, so I added a second layer of ice and allowed it to melt. Then after the second layer of ice melted, I went ahead and added one more kind of thin layer of ice to see if I could dissolve a few of the little bits of dye I had left on top. Then after that layer of ice melted, I allowed the shirt to process about 48 hours before I rinsed it out. To rinse the shirt, I took it to my utility sink and I began rinsing it in cold water to rinse out the soda ash. I went ahead and untied the shirt, and then I warmed the water up to hot and continued rinsing in hot water to rinse out the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. Instead of rinsing for a long time, I decided to soak the shirt, so I ran some hot water in my utility sink, added some Blue Dawn dish detergent to the water, and allowed the shirt to soak. When the water cooled off, I changed it out, and I continued that soaking process until my water was remaining almost clear. Then I put the shirt along with some Dharma's professional textile detergent into my washing machine, and I washed it using a hot water cycle. So now that the shirt has been washed, dried, and ironed, let's see what it looks like. Okay, so what do you guys think? I think this one turned out looking pretty cool. I really like the darker red lines paired with all the greens and the grays. I normally pair like green with brown shades, but this time, since I was using the red lines, I thought it'd be fun to try something different. And I like the gray and green combination. In general, most of the greens that I chose were more blue shades of green. So, green is a color that can either go blue or yellow. And for this one, I chose most of the blue shades. However, I do have some of the more yellow color splits, and then a little bit of that taupey color is showing through from the shirt. But I really like these colors paired up next to the red lines. Like I said earlier, it would be pretty difficult to do red and green in a design like this without the red and the green mixing together and forming brown on the shirt. That's one thing that's kind of fun about doing reverse dyes is sometimes you can pair colors that you normally couldn't put together in a shirt without forming some colors that you don't really want. So because red and green don't mesh or blend very well, this is a perfect way to use those two colors together. And, Christmas is coming up soon, and I think this looks a little festive, even though the design isn't necessarily a design that you would consider a Christmas design. The colors kind of are, and I think they look really pretty together. So in general, I love this shirt. Love the red, the green, the design. But what do you guys think? Please drop me some comments down below and let me know. And if you've enjoyed watching the video, I sure would appreciate it if you would like it and if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you'll hit the bell, you'll receive a notification whenever I upload a new video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.